The main thing really to remember is that there's millions of households now with bills spread out across the kitchen table, trying to figure out how to pay for heating or eating. And at the same time, major oil and gas producers are posting billions of pounds in profits. So we really think that this windfall tax is a good idea in terms of taking some of that cash and putting it into the pockets of struggling households.
That's if you pardon the pun, the million-dollar question is whether or not that would be translated into helping the poorest in society. Whether by taking, I think it's expected to raise around £2 billion. The government already providing a £2 billion. The government already providing a £22 billion package of measures. How much of that money that would be raised from a windfall tax would be passed on, or could it just get lost in the Treasury somewhere in a black hole of the NHS or whatever it might be?
Well, I guess that's a question for the government, but we would feel that, that they should really try and pass on as much of that as possible, whether it's through bills or through social security or through some of the green measures that they've already been looking at. And it's really critical that that money is sort of passed on as quickly as possible, because what we're seeing is really that sort of spike in the cost of living happening now. So we really need urgent action, and this feels like one measure that could really support that.
But Tom, the thing is, every economic expert that we have interviewed here on this show will hear what you're saying, and they give that sort of condescending, no, but you don't really understand what you're talking about, Tom. I mean, it's for people wiser than you. They always call it a knee-jerk reaction or an easy solution. It's an obvious blooming solution, isn't it?
Yeah, and let's not forget this has been introduced by many previous governments, including Conservative governments. So Mrs. Thatcher did something similar. George Osborne, as Chancellor, did something similar to try and support people. So this has been introduced in the past and didn't have any sort of major negative economic effects. So I would say to those people, let's look at those historical examples, which seem to go pretty well. And maybe that's where the government should be sort of modelling their policy on now.
What do you think of the government wish, which is really, look, oil and gas companies, we're going to come for you. We'd rather not. If you invest in communities, if you invest in jobs, if we can show that you're doing things that's bringing revenue into the exchequer and and putting pounds in people's pockets that way. I mean, very indirect and probably take a very long time. Any validity in that?
Well, you're right that their investment plans happen over a very, very long time. And the boss of BP said that a windfall tax wouldn't actually affect the plans that they've already put in place. I mean, look, of course, we want to see investment in our economy, but that is over a much longer horizon. And actually, as I say, what we really need is to get cash into people's pockets right now, and the government sort of has a role to play there alongside these companies.